I'm really passionate about taking care of your body and you not feeling trapped inside of the body that God gave you, but that you feel like you're thriving in the body that God gave you. And there's things that come up in life, obviously, for all my females here. You obviously, most of you are mothers, like you've had kids, like all that stuff. There are things that happen that kind of wreck your body, and then you don't know how to come back from that. And so that's where we come in to help you feel like you can thrive again in the body that God gave you, that you're not trapped in it, that you're not held captive in it, that it isn't working against you, but it was working for you. But here's the thing, like, I can't want it more than you want it for yourself. It doesn't work like that. Me as a coach, like, I changed my life. I'm not somebody who just was birthed out of the womb into a family that just so happened to be in fitness. No. And if you think that, you're just missing it. I'm gonna just share it with you. I was birthed out of the womb, and the first thing they gave me was a fat kid card, like a license to be chubby. My first pair of jeans were Huskies. Like, it was nothing. I was basically dealt the hand that I was going to be a chubby kid, and I was that perfectly. And even through teenagehood, just struggled with my weight, was picked on all the time, like all of those things. Even so much I would see my primary care physician, like the doctor for our family. And every time I went in, I hated going because he would always talk about how big I was. And he would always talk about my family. And he would actually I remember him sending my mom out of the room and just talking with me for a second and saying, "You don't want to end up like them, right?" And I'm like, "I don't know what to do. I really have no idea." And he pushing me to do sports and pushing me to be active. But my nurture, my lifestyle that I grew up in was not that at all. So what I'm saying is I've been there. I've lost my grandmother way too early. I have clients now that are in their 60s and 70s. My grandmother didn't make it past 65. So when I see and I'm working with these clients, and like they're like my grandmothers in real time, and it excites me that they are living thriving lives in their 60s and 70s when mine had to pass away in my home on hospice at 65 years old because she had lived a life that was not good for her. She always felt trapped in her body and never ever became a person that thrived in it. And so there has to be a value for you. There has to be something in you that says, I am worth this. I deserve this. And like, as a mother, as a wife, as a person, a human being, you're always pouring out to other people. I'm speaking straight to the moms here. You're always pouring out to everybody else. You're always thinking about everybody else. You're always doing for everybody else. And then guess where you go in the priority hierarchy? To the very bottom, or as we like to say, to the back burner. That time is over. Like, let me reframe this for you a little bit. You going to the back burner on yourself, where your energy is at an all-time low, where you are grabbing coffee every day, multiple times a day, just to make it through the day, where you're trying to do everything for everyone else. It's actually reverse of what you desire to do. Because if you poured into you, then you would have more energy for everyone else. If you took care of yourself, then you would feel better about taking care of everyone else. It's taking care of yourself first, and then you can pour out, because how many of you have heard you can't pour from an empty cup? You have to fill yourself up so that you overflow. You overflow on your family. You overflow on your husband. You overflow on your kids. You overflow with love and joy. This is the life when you choose to do this. This is where you get to the end of a day and you're not looking to escape. And as you lay the kids down, you're not escaping on the couch watching something on Netflix or scrolling on your phone just so you can shut your brain off from all the things that you did throughout the day. That's how you're living right now. But when you live in a state of overflow, you don't have to escape your life because you're in control of your life. You are now running as the person who is the operator of your life, not as a victim in the life that you have. And this is the problem that I see over and over again as I coach people and have been doing this for the last 5+ years. So, and I've seen this with my own life, is we become victims inside of the body and we become very reactionary to everything around us rather than becoming the operators, the CEOs of our own life and running this thing like a tight ship, and then everything else just gets better. Am I speaking to anybody right now? If I am, type a one in the chat. I just want to know if I've walked in, I put my feet up on your coffee table and made myself at home. This is why I probably don't need to take consults right before a coaching call.
You're deep in the feels.
Yeah. And I'll be totally transparent with you as well. Like, this is something I need to take my own advice sometimes, because I'm also the same person that will pour out. I will take care of clients. I will take care of other people before I ever take care of myself. I had someone special and close to me tell me not long ago that I have a self-sacrificial mindset where I will just sacrifice for everyone else around me, put all of my goals and all of my priorities and the things that I even need to get done on the back burner just because I love people and because it makes me feel valuable. But in reality, if we flip the script a little bit, like, you are valuable in and of yourself without anybody else. And if you begin to do that, you will actually pour out better and be of better service and be of a better asset to everyone in your life. And then I would ask you this too. Like, do you want your kids to live that as well? Like, do you want them to emulate the behaviors and the mindset that you have currently? Would you want them to walk free as they grow up in teenagehood and get into adulthood? Would you want them to be free from the things that you're bound by right now? Or do you want them to replicate the same behaviors and the same identity that you currently have as they become adults? Because I'm telling you this, your kids will mirror your actions in your life. What they see, they will mirror those exact things. So if you're struggling right now with your weights and you're struggling right now feeling like you can be in control, and you're struggling with self-control, and you're struggling with fitting things into your life and like all of these things, and feeling like your life is running you and you're just kind of like living as a byproduct and all of that, your kids are going to grow up as adults and they're going to do the exact same things that you're doing right now. I know we're going deep. Susan Susan said, if you came to my house, I'd probably bake. And I would totally sit down with you and have a cookie. Like, just like saying.
Cookies are your love language.
Yeah, my nickname in high school was Cookie. So there was a reason for that. I even still have people sometimes call me Cookie. All right. I know I just took us really on a deep dive into this. Let's come out for a minute. Everybody take a deep breath. I'm not trying to I have a heart, man. I've talked to two people today, and I'm just like, because I have the answers and I'm like, I can help you, but I can't want it more than you want it. But I can totally, if you come into our ecosystem, there's not one person that I don't touch. And I'm saying this, I can say this pure confidence. This is not pride. This is not arrogance. This is just knowing who I am. There's not one person that's come into my life that hasn't left changed every single time. I mean, I see Sydney over there with a knife in her hand, like she's gonna cut somebody, but she can attest to this. She's one of our clients. Like, she's down 18 pounds in a matter of a few weeks because I've literally like held her to the fire, but also encouraged her along the way. And she's got like two parts of her right now. She's a little pissed at me, but at the same time, she's like thankful for it. Just give everybody a thumbs up if you agree with that, Sydney, or a thumbs down. All right, cool. Well, what we're going to do tonight is I'm going to go ahead and dive in, and I'm going to try to keep this short. Last week, we talked about calories. We did quick math to calories, like how much you're supposed to consume and things like that. But we're going to hop into macros 101 tonight. So this is why most people fail at this. So how many of you have counted calories before? Let's kind of drop in the chat. How many of you has counted calories before? How many of you have counted macros before? How many of you don't know the difference?
Carly says macros scare me.
Cool. That's why we're here. We don't really know the difference. Yeah. So I'm going to help with that, because if you're counting macros, you're actually counting calories. It's essentially the same thing, because your macros create your caloric intake. So if you're counting macros, you're counting calories. If you're counting calories, you are eating macros, right? That's what's making up the total calories. You just maybe not be looking at them. So it's essentially the same thing. But I'm going to teach you and kind of walk you through that. Calories decide how much weight you gain or lose. Macros decide what kind of weight it is. muscle or fat. One of the first things that happens when someone comes into our ecosystem is I teach them how to hit their protein target. And 9 times out of 10, everybody struggles hitting their protein. 9 times out of 10. So, but here's the reason why, because calories decide how much weight you either gain or lose, because it's an energy game, it's a balance game. But macros decide what kind of weight that is. It decides what type of body you actually have. Are you going to have a muscular body, or are you going to have that toned look, or are you going to have a really soft body? That's where macros come in. Okay? So calories is simply the unit of measurement of energy. That's all that means. So I want us to reduce all the fear behind it between calories and macros. I want us to kind of just look at it as what it is. The word calorie is how we define a unit of measure of energy. So it's not a category or anything like that. So eat less than you burn. Your body pulls energy from stored tissue, which is fat or muscle. And if you eat more, you end up storing energy as body fat. Okay, so this is where weight loss is different than fat loss. Some people understand this, some people do not. So I've used this all the time. We've probably every single week talked about GLP-1s at some level, because they're like all the craze, the big buzz, and like all the stuff. Most people on GLP-1s are losing a ton of muscle tissue. A ton. It's crazy. Sarcopenia times 10,000. It's not good. Most people are losing muscle tissue left and right, which is where we end up looking like, once you've lost the weight, looking at a number on a scale, once you've lost the weight, they end up looking like wet garbage bags or melted candlesticks with the gaunt, sunk in face kind of look. That's usually what happens. Okay? We don't want that to happen to you. This is why macros matter. It's not about just eating less and moving more. And some of you have probably heard that 1,000 times over. Eat less, move more, eat less, move more if you want to lose weight. All that stuff. 100% it's true. But if we don't eat the right things, then we can eat less. And if we're not focusing on the macronutrients that's coming in, then you can do that and you lose weight, but you don't lose fat. And this is also why inside of our program, we look at different stats of like, how does your body look? What are your measurements like? How are your clothes fitting? Are you getting stronger? But some of those clients, they weigh exactly the same as when they came in, but they look entirely different. And the reason for that is something that we call body recompositioning, where they're eating the right foods and they're lifting weights and they're following a structured program, not something you're getting off of ChatGPT or TikTok, but they're following a structured program that actually works. And they're getting stronger and their body starts physiologically changing. So they weigh the same, but they look better. I'm talking hips, lips, and fingertips. I'm just kidding. But they're like, they have it all in the right places. Like their bodies are growing in all the right places. And I'll say this, like, if you're one of the females on here and you're like, I don't want to get bulky, I don't want to lift weights and get bulky. My grandmother, she started lifting weights when she was 60. And the reason why she died is because she got so big, like we couldn't even like fit her in one seat on an airplane. Like she was like bulky. Like I'm talking, she looked like Jay Cutler bodybuilder. Like she lifted in 1 year and she just like looked amazing. I mean, it was incredible. And then that's why she died, is because she lifted weights for 1 year and then she gained all this muscle. It was like the craziest thing. I'm joking because there's
That was a bad joke.
I'm just saying. The reason is when you start lifting weights, you are not going to gain a ton of muscle tissue like that. Not going to happen. If that were the case, I would be a heck of a lot bigger than I am right now. Like it takes some time, family. It takes some real time to put on muscle tissue. And then the females that you see out there that look big and bulky and all those things, they're not just lifting, they're taking other things to build muscle beyond what their genetic capacity is. So you're never going to look like that. I promise. You're never going to look like that. I've been coaching way too long. Like it's just not going to happen. Okay. Not going to happen. But you will build strength and you will build muscle tissue in all the right places so that your clothes start fitting better. Like we start building that peach where you want it, and you get it, got it, get it. Your husband's smacking it, all the things. I know I'm being a little crazy, but you start building things in all the right places, and you start losing the fat tissue in all the right places. So you feel better about yourself overall. That's what happens. And I don't know a female that doesn't want that. And the only way to do that is to actually lift weights. Like it's to lift weights. It's not rocket science. And it's not like if you go to a Pilates class or some type of group coaching class or something like that, and they tell you to hold a squat and the instructor says, now you feel the burn. Do you feel the burn in this squat holds? That's you building muscle. Well, I hate to tell you, they're wrong. Like you're not building muscle just because you feel the burn. You build muscle when you're under resistance. You're not under resistance when you're just holding a squat. You're just building lactic acid inside of the muscle tissue, and you're not going to build muscle in that way. It's just not how it works. So that's why most of the time when you go to these classes and you do them over and over again, you go and then you quit because, most people quit. You go back a year later and everybody looks exactly the same. Like it's just not the way that you build muscle. The way that you build muscle is actually lifting weights and having resistance, being under a load. That's the only way to grow in any capacity. The only way to grow spiritually is to be under some resistance, like to actually do things that you don't want to do, as in praying, reading, worshiping, those types of things, being around other believers. Sometimes it's not things that you want to do. The way that you grow when it comes to your soul, like your mind's will and emotions, your heart realm, the way that you grow in those areas is by picking up a book and starting to engage the intellect in your mind. That's resistance. Your body, your mind doesn't want to automatically do that. There are things that you do in the soul realm that if you want to grow in any capacity in your life, you will have to face some sort of resistance, some sort of pain, and grow through that pain. You build up tolerance, you build up tenacity, and you become a different person on the other side of it. So yeah, that's where we're at. All right. So calories is the unit of measurement of energy. All right. The missing energy concept is your bridge into macros. Your body doesn't choose fat by default. Okay. This is something to understand when it comes to weight loss. Your body does not actually want to get rid of the fat, because you wouldn't be here if you got rid of fat easily. Your body doesn't want to get rid of fat easily. It'll actually get rid of muscle a lot faster than it will fat. Why? Because muscle tissue is expensive. Fat lives on your body essentially rent free. Muscle tissue lives on your body and it pays dues, like it pays rent. Okay, so the more muscle that a person has, the higher their basal metabolic rate is, which means the more muscle that you have, the more calories that you burn just from having it on your body. When you have fat tissue, it just hangs out there. It lives rent free. It's like a squatter that found an abandoned house and just stays there until they're kicked out, right? And then if they are eventually found out that they're living at an abandoned house or whatever, they probably leave kicking and screaming, which is exactly what fat mass does. Fat mass leaves kicking and screaming. It does not want to leave. It needs the right formula and the right process and time to actually start leaving the body. So the missing energy concept is a bridge into macros. Your body doesn't want to lose fat. You influence that choice with what you eat when it comes to macronutrients. So your top priority macros, there are 3 macronutrients, and I'm going to give you a 4th that you maybe have not heard of before, but there are 3 main macronutrients: protein, carbs, and fats. Protein, carbs, and fats. All 3 of these macronutrients contain per gram a certain calorie amount. Protein and carbs have 4 calories per gram. Fat has 9 calories per gram. When you add this up, this is where you get a total caloric intake. So you take 100 grams of protein times 4, you get 400 calories. You take 100 grams of carbs times 4, you get 400 calories of carbs. You take 100 calories, you take 100 grams of fat times 9, you get 900 calories, right? You total all that up, you get 900 plus 400 plus 400, which is a number that I'm not willing to do math on in my head right now. But that would be your total caloric intake in a day. Does that make sense? Give me a good Presbyterian nod. There you go. Cool. That's how you get your total caloric intake. Now, there is a fourth macronutrient, and the reason why it's not actually a macronutrient is because it's not a nutrient, but it does contain calories. Susan, thank you, Susan. 1,700. So there you go. Thank you. I'm not good with quick math. Like, not my thing. I want to stick to this stuff. You know what I mean? So, but there's the fourth one. The fourth one is called alcohol. So, alcohol has calories as well. Okay. Alcohol has, for every 1 gram of alcohol, is 7 calories. Okay. So, it has a caloric intake as well. It's not considered a macronutrient because it's not a nutrient. It's actually technically a poison, for your body. But when you consume alcohol, what happens? The reason why most people that consume tons of alcohol end up overweight, maybe not, early on in life, if you're one of those 18-year-old to 20-something-year-olds and you're living life and all that stuff, probably not going to start gaining weight so quickly because your metabolism's nice and prime. But over time, living that type of lifestyle where you consume alcohol on a regular basis, what happens is when that alcohol gets into your system, your body basically shuts off all power to burning up anything else that you consume as far as food, and it shifts to burning the alcohol. So what it does with everything else is it stores it as fat. So that's what happens. That's the reason why over time, like we're talking 5, 10, and in plus years, over time you end up with more adipose tissue, more fat tissue, because when you drink, like you get the munchies as well. And if you don't want to get so buzzed, you're going to drink a little, or you're going to eat a little bit more, like all that stuff. But all the food that you eat basically is going to be stored as body fat because your body shifts gears and it's like, we got to go kill this poison. We got to metabolize it. So it heads to that. So that's your fourth macro. Okay. Which takes up a lot, 7 calories per gram. The top priority macronutrient for you is going to be drum roll, please. It's going to be protein. Protein is your number one priority. So protein is the building block of muscle and the building block of enzymes. Protein is your survival nutrients. It's not just a gains like from a gym aspect or a muscular aspect. It's not just I'm going to grow muscle tissue nutrient, but it also builds a lot of things inside of your body. So we need to have protein in. I always say this, like if you're going to build a house, then you need bricks, you need lumber, you need like things to build the house, right? So when it comes to building the body, you want to have materials. The materials to build the body is going to be protein. And when you don't have protein in the mix, it's even if you're tearing down and you're trying to lose weight, you're going to be tearing down more muscle tissue. So we want to have protein in the mix because it's going to make you feel more satiated. It's going to make you feel fuller longer. It's going to digest longer. It takes more calories to break down protein than anything else. It's going to build the body that you want over time, and it's really good for literally everything. So this is your top priority. Your sources for protein is going to be stuff like lean meat, seafood, dairy, eggs. There's a couple non-animal options for those of you who maybe have dietary restrictions or struggle with eating certain things, like even if you have Lyme disease and those types of things, but like tofu, nutritional yeast, vegan protein powders, like edamame, like these types of things that can come in the mix too. So there are other options like beans, lentils, like et cetera, et cetera. There's tons of options for protein. So when it comes to your protein intake, you want to take in at least 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body mass. So your body weight in pounds is approximately the amount of grams that you want to take in a day. So we want to take like our goal body weight. We touched on a little bit of this last week. We want to take our goal body weight and not like if you're overweight, obviously you can't take that because that's a ton of protein. You're probably going to be like, I'm sick of eating. So you want to take your goal body weight, right? Which is approximately your lean body mass. And you want to times that by 1, and that gives you a really good baseline. It can be a little bit less than that. The actual data is 0.7 to 1 gram per pound of lean body mass. So you can go down as low as 0.7, but it's a really easy job if you just do it times one, because if anybody is like me, you don't want to do a ton of math. So if your goal body weight or your lean body mass is about 150 pounds, then you're going to want to go with 150 grams of protein. So this doesn't change even with a diet phase. Most people think that protein needs to shift when they're like in a fat loss phase or they're in a growth like muscle building phase, but it actually doesn't. Protein is going to stay consistent throughout any phase that you're in, with one small caveat. Most people don't want to really do this, but if you ever like moved into a bulking phase and not like fat bulking, but if you moved into a muscle building bulking phase, you can actually reduce the protein down a little bit because there are so many nutrients inside of the body that you don't need just as much. But a still rule of thumb is just stay with one. It makes it easy, and then you move on from there. Okay. Any questions on that so far? I'm just really teaching tonight. I'm really just dropping teaching stuff.
No questions in the chat yet. Donna, you have a question? Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can. It should have a request to unmute you.
Hey, it worked. Hi. So you're having me eat like 50 grams of protein basically per meal, like almost 140 grams of protein. So does that mean my goal weight is 140? Look at the shock on my face. I'm sorry. I'm like, oh my God, what? Is that what that means?
Yeah, roundabout. Your lean body mass is probably going to be somewhere around 140, 150.
Wow, no wonder they consider me obese. That's crazy. No, in the doctor's office, that's what they tell me. That's crazy.
They're probably going off of BMI.
Yeah, they're going off of BMI. I'm going off of I'm not really worried about BMI, but I'm going off of just what I know from data that I've collected. So your height, weight, age, and all of that, taking into consideration, yeah, you're probably around 140, 150.
That's my goal weight. Not like I've been thinking 190. Like
Yeah, nah.
All right, so that's my
It's a good stepping stone.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thanks. All right.
Yeah, and then also what I do with females. So, okay, maybe goal weight doesn't maybe compute. So that's a really good question, because your goal weight would be 190, but there's no way that you'd be able to eat 190 grams of protein in a day. I mean, you could for sure if you put the intention there, but I'm eating 190, 200 grams of protein a day. Like that's for me. Yeah, it would be totally miserable for every female on the call. Like there's no way. So rule of thumb, like even without the math, rule of thumb, 120 to 140 should be a good range for 90% of most females. Well, 120 to 140 would be a really good range for most females. And that's going to put you, remember I said it's 0.7 to 1 gram per pound of lean body mass. That's going to put you there. Especially if you were a smaller frame. Like if you're like 5'1", 5'2", like you have a really tiny frame, like yeah, like I have a couple clients that are really, really tiny, and it's like, okay, well, 100 grams of protein a day is good for you. But most females, 120 to 140, and I'm never pushing that higher than that most of the time. Unless they're hungry, like hungry hippo, like me. Unless they're super hungry, then I'm like, let's throw in some more protein just to help keep you satiated and fuller. That's really the only reason why I would throw in some more.
Then you can add in the sour blue raspberry built puff bars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is that?
Hold on, I have a wrapper.
A wrapper.
It's like a Sour Patch Kid, but it's got 16 grams of protein in it.
Yuck.
It sounds gross, but it's really good. I mean, I love a good gummy, so.
Steak or shrimp, please. I don't need that.
I mean, I'm kind of meat averse, so it's good for me to have other options in the middle.
I mean, make my chocolate more protein. I'll be happier with that. Chocolate.
They make chocolate Built bars.
But don't give her advice. That's not going to work for Donna right now. Donna's in a deficit, and Donna needs to stick to what she's doing.
Don't listen to me, Donna. I just like the fun stuff.
Okay.
Because Donna's.
I told you that you were fun. So
yeah, Donna's goal is we're getting under 200 pounds by the end of the year.
You can do it.
I was 212 this morning. It keeps going up and down. Like last week, I didn't sleep. The stitches were itching and all that kind of stuff. Not having a good sleep makes me gain weight. That still blows my mind.
Yeah.
Yes, because your body detoxes when you're asleep. And if you don't get good sleep, your body's not detoxing. This is why if you sleep only 4 to 6 hours as a female, for sure, even as a male, but definitely for the females, if you're only sleeping like 4 to 6 hours, you're going to wake up feeling kind of puffy and groggy and like brain fog, like crazy. It's because your brain has not had a moment. Your brain is like a sponge. And when you sleep, it's like when you take a sponge in the sink and you squeeze it out and you wring it out. That's what happens to your brain. When you sleep and you get in good deep sleep, your brain just kind of squeezes out toxins and all that stuff. But if you have a really poor sleep, you're not sleeping long enough, that type of thing, you're gonna wake up and you're gonna feel like, what in the world? It's basically like you have a really fat sponge hanging out in your head and everything feels swollen and that type of stuff.
Susan asks, how do you tell your lean body mass?
You make a good educated guess.
Or if you have a gym that has a machine, I recently have been using that at my gym and it will tell me. It scans my body.
Yeah,
We asked our coach because he knows.
Yeah, a DEXA scan would be good. Like if you have, that's what Lauren has at her gym. Like a DEXA scan type of machine would tell you, but I don't worry too much about that. Just make a good educated guess and then shoot for a good range. Like I promise you, if you just hang out somewhere around that 120, 140, you're going to be good. And more protein's always better. You're not going to struggle. Like your body's, no one ever, I'll say it like this. No one ever got obese from eating a ton of protein. Like it just has never happened.
They're just really full all the time.
Yeah. So if you're going to become so satiated that you're not going to want to eat a lot. So it's going to be a really good appetite suppressant as well, which is why also like everybody hopping on GLP-1s and stuff, like all this food noise that everybody talks about, like of course it's a thing. But if you just ate appropriately, then you would fix all of that. Like it would all change. Like you don't have as much food noise when you eat appropriately. So okay, I'm 5'8", 190, would like to be 160. Well, I need you to bake me something.
I was gonna say, let's see some photos of that in the group.
Yeah. Yeah, I would shoot. So your goal body weight's 160. Yeah, so I would probably shoot for a protein intake about 140.
She asked what she would like. He's a cookie monster.
Golly, cookies, sourdough, whatever you got.
All of the above.
Thank you, Lord. All right, let's move on. That's a good question. I love cheesecake too. Love cheesecake. All right, now we're going to talk about, so we talked about protein. We're going to talk about carbs, which most women have been avoiding like the plague since the early 2000s because that's what's happened. But carbs are not your enemy. I want you to hear that emphatically. So for Susan, the baker, carbs aren't your enemy. You can have these things, which is why people are making jokes about me liking cookies and cheesecake and those types of things, because you can have carbs. You can totally have carbs and they can fit your life and all of that stuff. As long as it fits your caloric intake, like the balance that you're choosing for whatever your goals are, you're fine. But if it doesn't fit that, like right now, we'll use Donna as an example. I have her in a fat loss phase. The carbs are a lot less. So she's able to have some inside of her diet, but she doesn't need to go over that, right? That threshold that we've set for her. There's an amount. And, so that's the problem. Like we need to make sure that we regulate these types of things because it is really easy to overeat, especially carbs like are going to be inside of baked goods. It's really easy to overeat that. So we want to make sure that we have these things, but in moderation. So carbs aren't the enemy. They're actually fuel for output. So the more active you are, the more carbs you need. I'll give you an example. When I'm doing a leg day, like today, I did a leg day. I have 2 leg days a week, one posterior chain, one an anterior chain leg day that we're focused on. When I do leg day, I'm always having more carbs because it's going to fuel my workouts, and my leg days are brutal. They're just like, I don't even want to do them. I literally sat in the parking lot at the gym for another 30 minutes before I ever walked in because I was like, I don't really want to do this because exerting so much energy and so much force production, it really takes it out of you when you're lifting like I lift. So, but having carbs in the mix. So like I had carbs before I went, I had an intra carb drink, which is basically sugar and electrolytes while I was there. And then post workout, had carbs again, refueling it. So my carbs are around that workout window because the more active you are, the more carbs you need. If you're active, like take an Olympic athlete as an example, or someone that has a desk job, very different carbohydrate needs. A person who has a desk job that isn't doing anything doesn't require as many carbs as a person who's running or who is lifting or who's doing lots of activity. Okay. Carb sources, right? Whole grains, fruits, veggies. These are your backbone, simple carbs. They aren't bad, but I love simple carbohydrates. I love to put clients in more of a paleo style. Most of the time, it's not that we can't have things that are more whole grains or complex. Those are fine too. But I love to go like simple for the most part. And more paleo style is going to be anything that you can find from God's green earth or off of a tree or what you kill. Really simple. If it's breathing, eat it. If it falls from a tree or grows from a vine, eat it. If it grows from the ground, eat it. Like you pretty much can't go wrong if you live like that. Anything else that you hyper process, probably going to be secondary on the list. But, from a carbohydrate standpoint, like you can have juices, fruit juices. I would always look at the ingredient label and it'd be one ingredient. You don't want a fruit juice like a Sunny D is going to have like an ingredient label that is 10 miles long. That's not orange juice. That's high fructose and corn syrup that tastes like oranges, right? Like it has like a little bit of orange juice actually in it. But if you want to get an orange juice, you can get something that has 100% orange juice in it, right? Or apple juice, pear juice, those types of things. So we can have stuff like blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, cherries, for them cherry lovers out there, mangoes and bananas and honey. Rice cakes, rice. I love white rice, potatoes, those types of things. We can have food like that. Those are your carbohydrate sources. Okay. So carbs, they scale with output. Okay. I kind of mentioned this earlier. So they go up when training and like hard gaining, that type of thing. And they go down when you're sedentary or you're in a fat loss phase. They go down a little bit. So this isn't like a fear of food, which is what's happened over the decades of this propaganda that we've seen from media and diet culture. We don't fear carbohydrates. We have a food strategy. There's no reason for you to fear it. It's just you understanding that carbs are the one that we can manipulate the most out of the 3 macronutrients. Protein is essential. Fats are essential, which we're going to get to next. But carbohydrates are actually non-essential, meaning your body doesn't actually need them to function on a day-to-day basis. Although if your energy output is really high, then your body absolutely does need them. So it's very different. You can manipulate carbohydrates more, which is why everybody hopped on the keto train when that was big, and everybody hops on like just demonizing carbs. And you even got this woman on social media, if you guys have seen her, she wears her red blue light blocking glasses, and she talks about living carnivore and keto and like all that stuff. She's the most annoying lady that I've ever seen in my entire life. And because she's preaching to women like you, telling you to avoid carbs and that I'm in ketosis, so I'm burning fat. And she's just full of a lot of crap, and she sold a lot of stuff, and she's dumb. So I'm just saying that nobody in the fitness and nutrition space likes her because she's just selling a bunch of stuff. And fear mongering. There's nothing like, if you want to just be biblical, if there's fear in any area of your life, it's not God. Like, can we just like umbrella that? If there's fear for food, if you fear carbohydrates, the Spirit of God is not on you in the moment. Like I'm saying, you shouldn't fear anything, nothing. If you're walking with Jesus, there should be zero fear. Anytime someone's speaking and they make you fear something, they are wrong. They're operating out of a spirit that is not godly, and they just want to cause and wreak havoc on your life and then take your money. So you buy something that they have, and that's not cool. So I'm just saying that fear is not the way ever to get to where you want to go. So we don't fear carbs here. We love carbs. We utilize carbs here. Sweet. Any questions on that? All right, now we have fats. Okay, the third macronutrient, fats. Fats are essential to hormones. Okay, this is last on the list, but not the least important. It's least directly tied to body composition, but you skip it and your hormones suffer. I literally have one client, one wonderful star pupil every single week. I'm like, can you please eat like a tablespoon of peanut butter or almond butter or something? Just one. Like, please, God, eat like just one every day or something, like an easy way to get in some fats because she will go down to like 35 to 40 grams of fat per day. And I'm like, lady, we need to get those fats up because your joints are aching, you're not feeling good, like all that stuff. It's because hormones are not optimized. We need dietary fats that are good for us, not Crisco, not fat back, not those types of things, but we need good dietary fats that are good for us. So it's most important on the list after protein. So it's the densest macro, 9 calories per gram versus 4 calories for protein and carbs. This explains why fat isn't very filling per calorie because it's bigger in energy. So the coaching rule for fats is a minimum of a third your body weight in pounds. So again, this is like that lean body mass, that goal body weight spot of where you want to be at the end of your journey, not your immediate goals, like Donna, not 190, but like more like 140, 150, like looking in that area. Okay. So as an example, we want to have like if you're a 150-pound person or you want to be 150 pounds, that's where you feel like you're going to settle at. Then a third of that is going to be 50 grams. We'd want at least 50 grams of carbs. So we're going to go a little bit higher when we're not cutting. We're going to go minimum when we are cutting. And
Did you
we're going to
mean
go,
fat? You
what
said
did I
about
say?
50 grams of carbs.
I meant fat. Yeah. Thanks. But we're going to go minimum when we're cutting at that third body weight in pounds, but we can go up when we're eating more of at maintenance or even going higher than that for some cases. So we can eat a little bit more. So your best sources for fats are nuts, avocado, olive oil, MCT oil, nut butters like peanut butter, almonds butter, those types of things. Those are going to be really good sources for fats. They have tons of omega 3s. In America, we tend to have a really poor ratio with omega 3s and omega 9s. So we have a really poor ratio with that. Omega 9s are inflammatory fats. This is like seed oils and fried foods and vegetable oils and all of that stuff. So in America, we have a really poor ratio. We want to have a good ratio of at least 1-to-1 to omega 3 fatty acids versus omega 9s. I'm not going to go into all that because it doesn't really matter. Because if you focus on it matters, but if you're focusing on eating a high nutrient dense whole foods and you're eating mostly at home, then you're not going to have that big of an issue. So it's just something to be aware of that when you're eating out and stuff, like your body's going to feel not if you consistently eat out a ton and you're having lots of fried foods and lots of processed foods because all of it is cooked in something that's not omega 3, it's omega 9. Like it's inflammatory. So you're not going to feel the greatest when you're eating out all the time. You're going to feel your best. Your body's going to feel different and cleaner when you're cooking your foods at home and you're using oils that are more omega 3 rich. And it's going to make your body just feel so much better, especially as a female and having just that hormone production that you need and things like that. And also it's going to help with cholesterol and things like that too. So at the end of the day, calories set the direction that you're going to go. Protein protects the muscle that you have and are trying to build. And carbs, they fund the performance. And fat keeps the hormones running and optimized. Okay. This is also why, like those that are on GLP-1s and stuff without a coach, without direction, without guidance, we also see them not eating a ton of fats. Like we see them eating not a ton of food at all. So this is why they feel like crap because they're not eating fats. Their hormones are tanked. They're just not feeling good because they're not getting the nutrients that their body needs, which is what macronutrients are at the end of the day. So managing macros is not like a vanity thing. It's faithfulness with what you've been given, right? So the reason we have this saying, what gets measured gets managed. right? This is why we track. And I don't even like you. I know at the beginning of the call, I asked the question like, who's counted calories and who's counted macros? I don't even like using that as an example. I like to say, we're tracking food, we're tracking our macros because you're not actually counting them. And that sounds so annoying. Like, who wants to check off about, like, who wants to count? Rather, look at it through a different lens, a different frame as let's track our food because what gets measured gets managed. You don't count the money that comes into your bank account after you get paid. You track your funds that come into your bank account. You track your spending. You track these things. So the same way as with your body, you're not counting any of these things. You're just tracking your food to see where you are so that you don't overspend or under leverage yourself. So it's like financial is such a great way to kind of tie these things together. It's just tracking. It's managing. It's not a crazy, it doesn't have to be tedious. It's just importance and it's pouring into your body as a place of stewardship. Okay, cool. I think that's it. Like, I don't know what we got.